Hi, I'm Bob. I'm with Best Option Restoration. We service all of Maricopa, Pinal County. We do fire, water, mold, storm. We also have some peripheral products that we do like duct sanitization and cleaning, odor removal, and things of that nature. So water damage comes in all shapes and sizes. So the way I think of it is water damage potential. If you have a leak, hopefully you find it quickly. But if you have a leak that's been going on for a while, there's a good chance that you have some microbial growth. Doesn't mean you have a lot, but it needs something that needs to be dealt with. So the two people that I would tell you to call would be if you have a trusted restoration guy like myself, somebody that somebody that you believe in, somebody that can, step into the gap. And we use tools like moisture meters, infrared cameras, and things of that nature to detect water. And your building materials like your drywall, the wood studs in your wall, the insulation, those are the things that we see as permeable and in the environment where mold really likes to infest and grow. So the two people you should call is myself, or if you feel like it's worth it, and you have a relationship, I highly encourage that you do have a relationship with your insurance agent. What you shouldn't do is pick up the phone and call your claims line and file a claim. That's where guys like I come in. We can come in, provide estimates. We don't charge for that service. We don't charge for inspections. And yeah, just have people that you know and trust. There's gonna be, a draw to like people that are like contractors. Try to avoid those folks that are not certified by the IICRC because they're just not qualified to detect water damage and things of that nature. So again, think of it as water damage potential. Just because you had a spillover of the toilet, just because you had a leaky sink or something to do with your washing machine, anywhere there's a water supply in the house, that's where you're going to find water damage potential. You should really call us when you see water staining on your drywall. If you see obviously any kind of standing water, if you see the baseboards really tell a story. So if you're in your bathroom, for example, a lot of you have kids, the kids can overflow the tub. Teenagers take long showers, things of that nature. Some bathrooms aren't vented properly. So if you look at the baseboards and you start to see that they look like they're kind of melting, that's a good time to call us. Looking under your sink, if you see that the board the cabinetry is starting to warp in any type of way, that's a good reason to call me. Same thing like, in your laundry room, if you notice anything going on with the baseboards or if you see water coming out, if you had any type of spillage like that you're aware of, sometimes the drain hose that comes out of your washing machine, if you see that becomes dislodged, or if you start to see any type of black or green growth. Mold shows up in a few ways. If it's on a dark surface like a 2x4 or OSB plywood or anything like that, it's going to be a darker tone. If it's on your drywall, it's probably going to be a brown or a green circle. So we get calls all the time for mold testing. Do you guys perform mold testing? And the answer is no, we don't perform mold testing. That would be a conflict of interest. So there are folks that do that. They're indoor environmental professionals. They perform mold testing. What they do is they go outside and they get an air quality test from outside. Mold's everywhere, so you're going to get certain types of mold and spores that are going to grow outside and be in the air, and then you're going to have some of those inside, and they're going to create a baseline from outside and compare it to what's inside. So there's types of mold that you're going to find inside that you wouldn't find outside, and so they're going to do air quality testing in the areas of concern. And then they're also, if you see something visually, we can come and do an inspection just to kind of verify that. But if you see something visually, they can also do what's called a tape sample and tell you that the common types of mold that are going to be bad for your health are going to be like Stachybotrys and Chaetoni. You guys can do your research on that. But the indoor environmental professional is licensed to come in and perform mold testing in your home. If you see it, we can help. If you can't see it and you're just having symptoms, you're feeling somebody's told you, you've been to the doctor, you've been tested for mold, then you're going to want an indoor environmental professional. So if you've had your home tested and it came back positive for elevated microbial growth, then you would call us and we would come out and we would perform a free assessment and provide you with an estimate. Again, not something that you want to jump and file a claim for. Most people don't even have insurance coverage for mold, but those that do, we can work through that if it is worth it for you to file a claim. So you would call us if you find out you have mold. We'll come out, perform a free inspection for you at no charge, and give you an estimate. So all of our technicians, not just myself, not just my general manager, are certified by the IICRC, and we're certified in different things. So we're certified as a water restoration technician, we're certified in microbial growth restoration, and we're also certified in fire restoration. And those are governed by the IICRC. So for water, it's the S500, for mold, it's the S520, and for fire, it's they just came out with the S700. So we're held to that standard, and that's the standard that we follow when we're providing remediation or mitigation or restoration of any type. In addition to that, we're certified in asbestos removal. We're also certified in lead-based paint removal, and things of that nature. What separates us, I think, is that we're very big on making sure that our guys are safe and making sure that our clients are safe. So when we step into a home, we're not going to take any shortcuts as it pertains to the standards. So, I think the team itself really respects the fact that if I see them on a job, they better be in respirators, they better be in their suits. And it's not just because I'm, looking for something that they're doing wrong, or it's because I care about them going home safely at the end of the day. I also care very much about our clients. So when we do a mold job, for example, when we're done, we're going to have it post-tested by a third party that's going to hold us accountable to make sure that the result is safe for the homeowner to occupy the home. I think outside of that, and probably the most important thing about us, is we're very, very community driven. We're a faith-based family that own business. We have our kids in the business. They're all grown now. So this has given me an opportunity of my years in construction and different types of industries and working for corporate America to really kind of pay it forward to them. We have a few folks from our church that have come in and become technicians. So, I know they have our clients' back. I know that they have my back, and I, of course, have their back as it pertains to just really giving them the tools that they need. I think leaders develop leaders, and my job now is really about paying it forward to them and to being a servant in our community. Yeah, so I really appreciate the platform here today to introduce Best Option Restoration to all of you. The best way to get a hold of me and our team is to call us at 480-331-3596. We're going to answer that phone ourselves 24/7, 365. Our website is boreastvalley.com. You can go on there and kind of check out who we are. You can also find us on our Google page, Best Option Restoration of Mason Chandler Gilbert. Check out our reviews. Every one of them was a 5-star. We're over 100 reviews. And yeah, again, I really appreciate the time today to introduce Best Option.